Hey, everybody, this is Darren Sabedra, Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Christian Babcock, Joseph Dycus, Nathan Canilao. It's late on Saturday, March the 8th, 2025. Soccer championships were held today. Christian was all over that. Nathan was at, dare I say, yet another game of the year. He just keeps going to a game, and it turns out to be the game of the year. So hats off to Nathan. He got to cover another thriller. Joseph also covered a heck of a game in San Francisco, highly anticipated rematch between Salesian and Archbishop Reardon. Reardon prevailing to advance to the final of the Open Division for the second consecutive year, and they're trying to get over the hump to get to a state final. To do that, they'll have to beat De La Salle, team I covered tonight. Alec Blair, I would say, if he was 75%, that might be a tad high. He said he was playing on 1 foot, but he scored 14 points, hit a huge three with De La Salle leading by a point with 2 minutes to go, crowd going crazy. And Blair, the showman, does a step back three to give the Spartans a 4-point lead, and they did not look back. So anyhow, we will start with soccer and then move on to basketball. Christian, you got to see, I guess this was game 4 between St. Francis and Midi this year. Is that correct?
That is correct. You got that right.
That is, and St. Francis won 3 of them, right? Including tonight. Is that right?
Yes, they have now won 3 of the 4.
Okay, you're stalling there, Christian, for a minute. Maybe go off vid.
I'm stalling.
Turn off your video.
Yes, you're.
All right,
you're pausing.
All right, we'll go invisible.
Oh,
there we go.
There's
Look
Christian.
at
Look at that mug shot. Look at that mug shot. Christian,
Yeah.
go. Floor's yours.
Okay, yeah, you guys will just have to imagine my beautiful face. But yes, that is correct, Darren. St. Francis has won 3 of the 4 games now this year against Midi. And I said it in my story. It just kind of felt like it was a script. It was Midi and St. Francis, just like everyone expected, just like it was in the CCS title game, just like it was twice during the WCAL season. And St. Francis has proven that they are the superior team this year. They won their 3rd of 4 games. I was very much like the CCS title game, really a defensive struggle. You knew it was going to take either something weird or something really good for one of these teams to score. And it was a great play. Miliani Macassini had a great shot. Through ball kind of came into the box. She put a really nice finish on it to get it past Midi's Vivian Baker. And that was it. That was with about 7 minutes left in the game. And the way things were going, that was all it was going to be to it. St. Francis hasn't allowed a goal since the CCS semifinals. They haven't allowed more than 1 in any game all year. So once they scored that goal, that was pretty much it. And they have proven to be the top team in NorCal this year.
Yes, and they beat the defending NorCal Division I champs. So hats off to St. Francis. Elsewhere, you couldn't be at 5 places at once, so you had to either follow on social media or through emails, calls, or texts. But De La Salle, they went down to Everett Alvarez, a team that you saw last week overcome a 2-goal lead against or 2-goal deficit against Bellarmine to win 4-2 for the CCS Open Division or CCS Division I. I think it's now Division I in soccer and CCS. Anyhow, they won that top tier championship, and then Alvarez playing at home in front of a raucous crowd in Salinas, they fell behind 1-0 quickly, right, against De La Salle.
Yeah, it was kind of, again, more of the same as last week, going down. And then, that Everett Alvarez team, I'm not surprised at all to see them winning this NorCal title. They came back from 2 down against Bellarmine. And so a 1-goal deficit, I don't think is going to phase them. And the fact that they were able to play in Salinas, I know talking to Connor Salcedo, the Bellarmine coach last week, he said, if it ends up being them in the final, whoever goes down there is going to have a hard time because they traveled very well to Santa Clara, and this time they didn't even have to travel. So great win for that program. Really enjoyed getting to know their coach and talk to him. And that's been a program on the rise, and I'm not surprised at all to see them win this title.
They packed the home stands there at Alvarez. Elsewhere, well, right down the street from where you were, in Mountain View, the Mountain View boys took care of business against Cardinal Newman, I believe. Is that right?
Yep, it was Cardinal Newman. Just finished up chatting with Jim McGurk, the Mountain View boys soccer coach, and it's their first NorCal title in program history. So great accomplishment for them. They had previously made one final and just been a perennially great program. I think they've made 3 straight NorCal brackets, and they were able to get it done this year. I think they lost in the first round last year. So bit of a redemption story. They're playing without 6 players who went off to play club teams and try to get recruited for college. So great story, great year for them, and a great way to finish it off today.
Hillsdale fell short in D3 against Archie Williams, but the Sacred Heart Prep girls got a big W, right?
They did. It sounds like it was pretty nervy. I think a stoppage time goal gave them their 3rd goal of the game, and that was what did it for them. So great win for the Gators. And yeah, they are, as far as I can recall from my notes, they're only they are a 3rd Bay Area program to win a NorCal title. So congrats to them up there in Atherton.
Congrats to them. And Piedmont in the East Bay, they also won, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's pretty deep in my notes. I haven't even gotten to that yet in the roundup, but they beat. You might have to help me out here, Darren. I know you did.
I am calling up the schedule as we speak. They beat Williams 4-1. So a nice win on the boys' side. Piedmont boys coming up with a 4-1 win to win the Division 5 crown. And as we said, Sacred Heart Prep girls winning Division 4 over Fresno Christian, and then obviously St. Francis beating Mitty. So quite a what was your impression of soccer? Your first go around here at the Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times. What do you think of soccer in our area?
Yeah, I said it on Twitter when I posted my Mitty St. Francis story. I thought it was a pretty phenomenal 2 weeks. I mean, you look at the Mitty O'Dowd game on Thursday with that coming down to penalty kicks. O'Dowd had a shot to win it, and, there's a big save, a missed penalty, and totally flips. Mitty's back in the championship game. And there were a lot of games like that. I mean, I think about the first game I covered with Lee and St. Ignatius. That was a really close game coming down to a 1-0 result. Mitty had a great game against St. Ignatius in the CCS semifinals. So, yeah, a lot of great games. I know SI had a tough semifinal loss to, I think it was Maria Carrillo or something. So a lot of really good teams in this area facing off against each other, and just some great games over these past 2 weeks.
Well, that's terrific. Great coverage. Let's switch gears. Nathan, we anticipated a great game tonight between Oakland Tech and San Ramon in the Division I semifinal boys matchup in Danville. Was it more than you were expecting?
Oh, way more. It was one of the. I mean, I keep saying this every other day. It's like, oh, this is the best game of the night. This truly was the best game I've watched this year. It topped what I saw a few days ago with Moreau and Doherty Valley. This game, man, it was an intense game. Both teams fighting hard. A lot of loose balls, and both teams diving on the floor. It was insane. We go to OT, and Elliot Conley hits a really nice 3-pointer from the right wing, puts them up 3 with 3 seconds left, and kind of the whole crowd for Tech is thinking, I don't know. They got to go the full length of the court in about 3 seconds in order to get off a shot. And somehow, some way, our Darius Grayson, who finished he finished with 36 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and 4 blocks.
Oh, God.
He found a way to get up a shot near just about 2 steps from half court. And it hits the backboard. Everybody's like, oh, my God, it's going to go in. It rolls around, and it just rolls out. And SRV comes out of that with a win. It was a crazy game, a lot of emotion. The Tech boy, well, first the SRV boys just jubilated, went to their 6th man and just celebrated like they just won. They just won the semis to go to the NorCal finals. But on the other side, you have Oakland Tech, who's just in tears. I mean, everybody from their last guy on the bench to Coach Kariga Hart. Just it was just devastating. So it was an insane game. I mean, our Darius Grayson, Luke Isaac had an amazing game, 33 points and 14 boards, but our Darius Grayson, man, that guy, it's
Wow.
the legend.
That was his last high school game?
Last high school game, yes. He will graduate with, and man, he even said, that's going to be a memory he's going to never forget, is that the half court shot that almost went in. Man,
he was a D2 champion last year, right? In state.
He was
D2 champion, and then they get bumped up, and I think for some people were like, I don't know, Tech at 8 seems a little unfair. They got to go to Intercom. They have to play TT Carr in the first round. They've handled that, but then you got to go to Intercom, and they pulled that off 2 days ago, a stunner over the top seed in Division I, and then they go to SRV, and I mean, it was a packed house, and they weren't scared of anything. That's SRV crowd. I've seen teams wilt in front of that crowd. They did not. They were up for that, and they played their hearts out. But hats off to SRV for playing a hell of a game. Luke Isaac was just dominant as well. So that was a great game.
And SRV is the defending Division I champion.
Yes. Yeah, defending Division I champion. And I'll say that, I mean, they played, I mean, they won only by 3, but they played like, probably the best I've seen them play this year. And I think it speaks so much to Tech and how well they played, because, I mean, they were hitting threes. I think I counted about, it was about more than 10 threes made on the night for SRV. And
when I'm covering those type of games, I mean, sometimes I just sit there and I'm like, I don't want either one of these teams to lose. Is that how you felt?
Exactly how I mean, my stomach was turning like throughout the whole overtime, because you're like, you really are into it and you feel it. And the crowd was just into it. I mean, from the cheerleaders from Oakland Tech to the SRV 6-man. And I was talking to Brian Botin after, and this will be their last home game. And he couldn't have thought of a better way to go out of that gym with this type of win. I mean, he console. Another little anecdote I'll put out there. Grayson, as he's going to the line for handshakes, he's just tearing. I mean, he's balling up, he's tearing, and our photographer Jose Fajardo has a great picture of it. And Botin goes up to him and he gives him a big hug, and he just really respected the way he played, because I mean, he willed that too. That team shouldn't have been in that game, and he willed them to overtime like he's done all year, right, Joseph?
Yeah, I want to say too, I saw the video of the half court shot. One, it reminded me of that Gordon Hayward shot in 2010. Butler that just barely goes out. But when you watch the shot, you look at Luke Isaac. He was guarding him, and as the shot goes up and then it rims out, you see Luke Isaac. He has to put his hands on his head, like he's almost like he's just in shock of what he just saw. He wasn't celebrating. He was just like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?"
Yeah, but I will say this too. I mean, the mutual respect between both teams was, I mean, it went both ways. They both, regardless of win or loss, both teams respected the hell out of each other. Luke Isaac and Mason Thomas and Elliot Conley, those guys had nothing but great words to say about Oakland Tech. It was they gave them a good challenge, and I think we were waiting for this game. I feel like all year people were like, maybe Tech and SRV could match up, and they did, and it couldn't have come out better.
Wow. Before we move on to the open division now, SRV has 2 days. Tomorrow is an off day, but I'm sure Brian Botin is going to be watching a lot of film, if he's not already, of Lincoln of Stockton, which at this point appears to be the class of Division I. I know they were not seated as high. Are they seated, third or fourth? I mean, but
they're third. And I'll add this. So the SRV opened the season with Lincoln of Stockton, and they lost on a buzzer beater, Kawhi Leonard-esque buzzer beater, where the ball rimmed around from a corner 3. Okay. And now they're here, the NorCal final against Lincoln 3 or 4 so months later.
Will that place be rocking on Tuesday night? I
think so. I'm not sure. Brian didn't have an answer for me on where the game was going to be as of yet. I mean, I would not be shocked if they had to put that somewhere bigger. Because it was big on Thursday.
The CIF hasn't, since they've gone to this format where they don't go to neutral sites like they used to go to Sacramento to play at the Kings Arena for NorCals, and then they played at Santa Clara a couple of times with the top divisions. CIF has been reluctant to move these games out of home gyms. I can't imagine. You would think that they would move De La Salle, Reardon to like USF. or a bigger gym. But I mean, if I'm Reardon, I don't want to lose the home game. And CIF is, CIF says if your gym can hold the X amount of people, they don't move it.
The only one I can think of is my 3 years here is Oakland Tech, Oakland. The first time they played, they wanted to move that to Laney, and the next year when Oakland Tech had the higher record, they basically told CIF, no, we don't want to play at a neutral site. We want to play in our gym.
Last year in the NorCal Division I final, San Ramon, I believe San Ramon played Granada at Dublin.
At Dublin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll move it. Maybe they'll move it to one of the bigger gyms in Stockton. I know there's a couple.
Delta College comes to mind, but I do believe Lincoln has they have a pretty big gym, so that could work as well.
And will they pack it out?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Lincoln has a pretty good crowd. They got a student section, but I will say I'm sure San Ramon will bring a bus.
Okay, all right, and San Ramon girls, maybe they can go watch. Unfortunately, their run came to an end tonight against undefeated Clovis West.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Clovis West will take on Archbishop Mitty, which got a huge win over McClatchy tonight. So it'll be Mitty against Clovis West. I believe a rematch of last year's open final, which Mitty smoked Clovis West.
Yes.
I don't think they're going to smoke them this time. I think they could win. In fact, playing on their home court, I would expect Mitty to win, but I don't think they're going to win the way they did last year. So anyhow, let's go to what we thought was going to be also the game of the night, and it turned out to be a great game, right?
Hey, it was a pretty good game.
It wasn't Oakland Tech San Ramon, but it was a good game.
It was a very good game.
Okay.
I was in San Francisco for Reardon and Salesian, the rematch part 2, because they did play at Gridley, so technically it wasn't the first time they played since Salesian beat Reardon in last year's NorCal Open final. And how big was this game? They brought out the little folding chairs and put them around the sides of the court, which I talked to a Reardon guy, and he said that they had not done that since Aaron Gordon played for Mitty, and he came to town. When he came to San Francisco, they would do that for that. So that's how big this game was.
Okay.
Meeting room only. The place was rocking. According to Joseph's advanced stats, Salesian got out to an 18-14 lead. They were not quite as big as Reardon, but I mean, Salesian still got some good size. I mean, all those guys are between 6'2" and 6'5". They were able to match up with them. And then I have a sequence that pretty much sums up the game, which is Jasir Rencher crazy dunk on so-and-so for 2 points, and then Elias Ovenia for Salesian scores and answers, and it's 29-27 at halftime. The entire game felt like it was Jasir Rencher scores or Andrew Hillman scores, and then Elias Ovenia for Salesian would answer. Occasionally, Carlton Paralat would score. It was back and forth. Every time you thought, oh, maybe Reardon's going to pull away, they go on a little 5-0, 6-0 run. Salesian would get a steal, and they'd go down and score, and they get a stop, and they would make a layup. And eventually it came down to Salesian missed 8 free throws, and Reardon made 10 consecutive free throws in the last minute of the game.
Wow. So it's kind of the story of the last game.
Yes.
Where Salesian, I think, was in a better position in the last game, but missed a ton of free throws down the stretch. So sounds like that bit them. So now Reardon, playing in front of that home crowd, is going to get another home game. A game that they will be playing De La Salle.
Yes. They are not taking De La Salle lightly.
De La Salle's defense is phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, they feel like they're playing with 10 defenders. I mean, guys are switching, and guys are, I mean, you think you get past one defender and then you run into another one. I mean, Folsom could not find any openings. I mean, there were not open looks anywhere. Everywhere they turned, they were running into a De La Salle defender. Now, can they do that against Reardon on the road?
That's going to be really tough because
De La Salle is playing as well as they have, obviously, all season. Alec Blair, the big storyline coming in, he did play. He was playing, as he put it afterwards, on 1 foot. His ankle was taped up. He said it was hurting very badly. He couldn't even get any lift on his free throws. He had 2 air balls from the free throw line. But as good players do, with the game on the line, 2 minutes to go, crowd going crazy, 1 point lead for De La Salle. Folsom trying to get a stop, very much in the game. Alec Blair dribbles from beyond the arc and somehow step back 3-pointer with a defender on him. Nothing but net. Crowd goes crazy. Spartans close the game on a 10-0 run to put away Folsom, a team that beat Mater Dei this season by 40.
Yeah.
And hit 19 threes in that game. So huge win for the Spartans. Now we'll see if they can. The only other time they've been to the Open Division Final for NorCal was 2016. And they won that game and then went on to lose to the Ball brothers, the great team that they were on.
I will say Reardon likes to play up tempo. They're very athletic. I would not compare them to Chino Hills 2016, which is arguably the greatest high school team of, I would say, I mean, people say they're the greatest team of all time. Nathan, you're a little bit more well-versed in recent high school basketball history. Are you a 2016 Chino Hills guy or a 2020 Montverde guy? Which one?
I don't really count Montverde, so I am a 2016 Chino Hills guy.
Okay.
They were legit.
Yeah, they were. I mean, legit. All the kids from Chino are from that IE. So,
but do you know who beat them in the 2015 Division I final?
I do. San Ramon Valley.
Was LaMelo on that team at that point?
No, he was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, it's one quite.
The other 2 balls were though, right?
Yeah, 2 other Ball brothers were there, Lonzo and I can't remember the top players. I do know they had a taller fellow from San Ramon.
And the Big O wasn't there yet either, right?
Yeah, Kongwu wasn't there either. So
yeah, but I'm just saying, 20 these parallels. You guys are bringing this up. Brian Botine brought up that that 2015 team had to play at Monte Vista for one of their NorCal playoff games. This team had to as well. So
lot of similarities.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, we're going a little long here. We all have more work to do tonight, so let's get through some of the other highlights of the night. We got to shout out the Carondelet girls. They're off to the Division I final, correct?
Right.
They're going to have to play St. Mary's of Stockton, which ended Piedmont's run. Yep. They get them in their home gym though. Carondelet will be at home, so big one there. In Division II, we have somebody.
The Road Warriors, Salesian.
The girls are in the Division II final. They will be playing
at Carruthers.
A big winner over California. In Division III, Monroe Catholic girls, their run came to an end against Marin Catholic. Yep. So a nice Catholic gathering there in the Division III semifinal. Meanwhile, in the Division III boys, the Kings Academy took down Carlmont in what looked like a good game, 75-69. And they will now be taking on Palo Alto. So an all South Bay / Lower Peninsula matchup for the Division III NorCal champion, which means a team from our coverage area in that division will be going to the state final. In Division IV, Prairie took down Berkeley.
Yep.
And they will be meeting Santa Cruz. So an all CCS Division IV boys final on Tuesday night. Nathan, Alhambra couldn't get it done on their home court. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, it looks like they lost by 1 to International. International avenges that loss from the NCS Division V championship, which is now that was a good team. International's a good team, so I'm not shocked. But it was a hell of a run for Alhambra. It's funny, Darren. We could have had an Alhambra Martinez versus an Alhambra down south. I think there's an Alhambra down south. There could have been a final. Both of them were in the semis.
Oh,
so that could have been a very funny championship game next week. But
that would have been a funny championship game. But unfortunately, the Alhambra from Martinez, there will be no parade. They fall 50-49. Let's see. Then we obviously have the Midi girls winning over McClatchy, so they will be taking on Clovis West.
Down Division IV. Shout out to Half Moon Bay for making it.
Right. Castellea fell short. They ruined Mills's run last
They did.
round, but then fall tonight to Lowell of San Francisco. So it'll be Lowell against Half Moon Bay for the Division 4 NorCal title. Joseph, give Encinal a shout out real quick.
Shout out to I'll call them my Encinal Jets. I've been on this bandwagon since the beginning. I just texted with their coach winning the Lions. They said this run has been crazy. The whole school is behind them, and for them to do it during Women's History Month, she said it just makes it even better. So they beat Washington and San Francisco 59-37.
Yep.
And they'll play Woodland Christian, who I think is a Sacramento school.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to take your word for it. They ended Head Royce's season tonight with a 46-39 win.
And I'm going to give a shout out to Cornerstone Christian down in Division 6. They blow out the number 1 team, Ferndale.
Right. So they will be playing Faith Christian of Yuba City. They got to go to Yuba City.
I don't know where Yuba City is. It sounds far away.
It's very far. It's like north of Sacramento. It is far.
Yes.
It's far.
It is far. And that's where Cornerstone Christian will go to play for the Division 6 girls title. We won't have a show before Tuesday's finals. So everybody want to make one pick?
Yeah, I'll make my pick.
Time for the whole thing. We have 2 minutes to do.
I'll make my pick in Division 1. I got San Ramon upsetting Lincoln and I'll be specific. I think it's going to come on a Luke Isaac buzzer.
Wow.
I think it's going to be something like 70-68.
Holy moly.
I think they're going to go to Stockton and they're going to beat them on a buzzer.
Wow. All right. Joseph.
I am going to pick Reardon to beat De La Salle.
Oh, come on, that's the
Okay. No. Okay. I said it with such conviction. You want to give a score? I think they'll. I think they'll win 70-58.
Ooh.
You think De La Salle's defense is going to give up 70?
I do.
How many did they give up to Chino Hills that game? Because it was close at halftime.
Why are you bringing up a game from 10 years ago?
I think De La Salle's defense is playing like lights out.
Okay. Anyways,
remember, I once saw a St. Francis team in the mid-90s take down Tayshawn Prince's team, which was ranked, I believe, either number 1 or number 2 in the country, and shut them down. So if you play Lockdown D, you can shut teams down.
De La Salle lost to Chino Hills 70-50 in 20.
Oh, they did give up 70.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Anyway,
they only gave up 28 and a half, though. I will say they were pretty. They had them.
The other game that I would pick is I'll just say it, Encinal. They're going to beat Woodland Christian. Wherever Woodland Christian happens to be, they will lose to the Jets, and we will see Encinal in Sacramento.
Christian, who you got?
Yeah, well, hopefully I don't freeze. We'll see. I think my video and internet is matching my brain state right now, but it doesn't look like I've frozen so far. I'm not going to make a pick. I am going to advocate for state championship games in girls and boys soccer at the CIF level. Talking to both coaches after the NorCal game today, they were obviously St. Francis was very happy, but they want a chance to go up against, whoever the top team is from SoCal. I believe Santa Margarita is currently the number 1 ranked team in the state. I think it would be great for St. Francis to get a shot at playing them, and St. Francis wants that too. So talking to both coaches, it sounds like it might be on the way next year, and I think that would be a good thing. I think we need that
on the agenda. Look at the it's on the NCS agenda. I haven't seen the CCS agenda for their board of managers meeting, but since it's going to be a vote, I believe at the NCS board of managers, it's got to be a vote at the CCS too, because all the sections have to vote on this. So it looks like we could be having soccer state finals as early as next season. Do I want to make a pick? What do I want to pick?
Hey, how about TKA Palo Alto?
Yeah.
Who you got? Who you got, Darren?
I am going to take TKA Palo Alto. I'm going to take Jarrell Clark and Palo Alto to pull off the upset
Ooh.
and to win. I do not think De La Salle is going to get blown out like Joseph.
I didn't say they're going to blow out. I said it's 12 points of blowout.
Yes,
Well,
that's
kind
a
of.
blowout.
Kind of. I think Reardon's going to win, but it's going to be something like 48 to 42. 48 44.
48.
48. 48 44.
How many points does Renter get?
14. How many does Blair get on one leg? If Blair were healthy, I think it would be a little different. But I don't think he's healthy.
All right, I'm gonna put out a score prediction because this is an interesting question with how many points Blair is gonna score. I think he's gonna go out in a blaze of glory, and I'm predicting a 55 to 44 Reardon win, and I have Blair scoring 25.
Ooh.
I can see that. I can see that happening.
Blair said he would have scored a lot more tonight had he been healthy. He finished with 14.
Well, he has 2 days to get healthy.
I say playing on one foot and to score 14 in a NorCal game against that Folsom team was pretty good.
He's got to ice. They got to do some whatever they got to do. You got to do get some go somewhere, go get some voodoo magic, and whatever he needs to do to get that ankle right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, as Shannon Sharp once said, if a frog had pockets, it would carry a knife and stab the snake before it ate it. So if Alec Blair wants to bring it, he's got to get that ankle as healthy as possible.
Yeah,
Also,
sure.
I want to give before we close out the show, I do want to give a shout out. The St. Francis rugby team won their first state title today. They beat Torrey Pines. So
Very nice
big
win
game for St. Francis. They win in soccer and they win in rugby.
Big night, big day for St. Francis. So anyhow, that is a wrap. Check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com.